Donald Trump has sparked outrage for his disrespectful failure to follow royal protocol when he met the Queen on Friday. Things didn't get off to a good start when the president left the 92-year-old monarch waiting for more than 10 minutes in the 80-degree F heat when he was late for their meeting on Friday. The Queen, who looked unamused by the delay, was even seen checking her watch as she waited for Trump and Melania. And when the first couple's black Range Rover did finally pull up to Windsor Castle, Trump almost immediately breached rigid royal protocol. The American leader broke with tradition by refusing to bow to the Queen, instead greeting her with a hearty handshake. Thankfully, Trump didn't appear to treat the monarch to one of his notorious power shakes, which are so aggressive that he once left white marks on the hand of President Emmanuel Macron. The First Lady also met the Queen with a handshake rather than the traditional curtsy. Bowing, for men, and curtsying, for women, are not mandatory when meeting a member of the royal family but is considered traditional and polite. But the Trumps weren't done. The president's biggest faux pas came when he was invited to join the Queen to inspect the Guard of Honor. Video of the moment showed Trump turning his back on the monarch and marching ahead of her as they walked past the troops in what was a serious breach of protocol. The president looked out of step with the official choreography, causing the Queen to point tentatively and ask him to move to the left. However, Trump failed to pick up on the signal and instead came to an abrupt stop in front of her. The Queen abandoned her efforts to get the president to move and simply shuffled around him. Trump continued to stand stock still, staring at the Coldstream Guards, who were in their traditional bearskin hats despite the 81 F heat. The Queen appeared to leave him behind before she spurred him into movement again with a swift hand gesture. Royal etiquette states that one should never turn their back on the monarch or walk in front of her. Prime Minister Theresa May, who greeted the Queen with a very low curtsy last time they met in public, backs out of the room after her weekly audience with the monarch, as all British prime ministers have before her. Even the Queen's husband of 70 years, Prince Philip, 97, traditionally walks a few paces behind her in public. But apparently Trump had forgotten the rules or chose not to follow them. He also faced a backlash for his rather sloppy appearance, leaving his jacket undone and tied long. The gaffes were quickly picked up on social media, where he was slammed for being rude and disrespectful to the world's longest-serving monarch. Joanna Gasiorowska, Al Jazeera senior sports presenter, tweeting, "I can't even watch this, no bow or curtsy, sick and now number." Trump walks in front of the Queen, surely he knows the protocol, but chooses to ignore it, and that's just be rude. I'm not a monarchist by any stretch of the imagination, but this is such an insult to Britain. Absolutely clueless, classless, thoughtless, lacking in any dignity, and without a shred of respect," added Matthew McGregor. "Very few people are this oblivious to the actual Queen," journalist Janine Gibson tweeted. Trump has also turned his back on the Queen. "I have always believed this to be a mortal insult to a monarch. Number off with this head number, pull it apart but hearses," tweeted Ian Beck. Who does Trump thinks he is? He comes over to our country on a supposedly working visit, berates our prime minister on Brexit, then backtracks, accusing our papers of spreading fake news. Then, to add insult to injury, he keeps the Queen waiting 15 minutes, doesn't bow, just shakes her, asked Melanie Cassandra Burstall. Trump may not have necessarily been responsible for his late arrival, as it could have been down to the pilot or driver. CNN's royal commentator Victoria Arbiter insisted he was on time, with his motorcade pulling into the castle's quadrangle at 4:59 p.m. for the 5 p.m. appointment. Of course, Trump isn't the only American to struggle with the rather stiff and rigid traditions around meeting the royals. Michelle Obama famously caused a stir when she broke protocol by touching the Queen, placing her hand on her back while conversing. She later explained the Queen had done the same to her prior to the move, and it had simply been a natural part of their conversation. The Obamas also chose to greet Elizabeth II with handshakes rather than bows and curtsies. The newest member of the royal family, Meghan Markle, now the Duchess of Sussex, has come under fire for a few breaches in etiquette. Most have been small, such as failing to wear stockings or pantyhose during an official photo shoot. However, she did land herself in a little hot water recently when she commented that she was in support of Ireland's repeal of their abortion ban. A golden rule of British royalty is that they are supposed to stay out of politics.